This is your place for all things Grand Rapids Griffins and all things Toledo Walleye. This is the Hockeytown West podcast with your hosts, Brandon Cook, Nick Harrington, and Travis Foch.
Big weekend for the Toledo Walleye. 5 straight wins in a row, a franchise record, 58 shots against Wichita. I remember Sunday night, Travis just texted the group chat. We've got 30 in the second period, it seemed like, and we're going to pace for 60, maybe 70 shots on that in that game. Big nights for Brandon Kruse and Rylan Mosley. The goaltending continues to be outstanding for Toledo. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Hockeytown West, your home for the Toledo Walleye Hockey and Grand Rapids Griffins. And there's a little bit of a debate of what the team names are right now with all these roster moves that we're going through with the organization. Before we get into everything, Walleye fans, what was the biggest moment of the weekend for you? Was it the Craggs breakaway goal, the Mosley 2-goal night, or the 58-shot domination against Wichita? Drop it in the comments. Let us know. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, like the video, and drop a comment. Give us a little hype as well. And if you're listening on audio, make sure to follow the show and tell another Walleye fan about it. That's how we get to keep this thing growing. Travis, how are you doing?
I'm good.
It's been a while.
Good. That's only been a week.
A week.
Only been a week. I've been missing all the Griffin shows, so it's just bad timing, or Toledo's playing, or you guys forgot I was off nights. You know, it's just like a little bit of everything, but not too bad.
We'll have you back out for the playoffs. I'm sure by then our schedule should all balance out enough to be able to get you on and get you talking again. So I know it's weird going this long without seeing you, and I feel like it kind of messes up our flow a little bit. Well, let's get into some of the news that has happened with the Walleye before we get into the games. So the first big news out of this was Tanner Pelosic was traded to Wichita for future considerations, which is actually a real thing at this point. Like, it's not just future considerations, nothing happens. Something has to come about it. Travis, what did you think about this move when it happened? I know we were pretty big on Tanner.
Just freeing up space. Like they had obviously we'll get into it, but Moulton comes back, so it's like you just have an extra like one too many. Like, it's just a numbers game, really. Do you need 8 defensemen at this point in the season? Probably not. Something could always change right with this team because you got 3 guys on American League deals, but there's also going to be college free agency. Maybe there's something out there that maybe they see that they could maybe get to come, that they maybe could, maybe it's a different style than what Tanner played, gives them a different option. I don't know. You never know, right? We don't make the decisions, so we just talk about it. But, yeah, I think it's just, to get the players some more playing times. He wasn't playing a lot up until recently.
Gotcha. So Toledo signed Riley Funk out of Bemidji State. Is that right?
Bemidji, yeah.
Bemidji State.
I don't know.
That's gonna be our best guess out of it. 37 games played, 12 goals, 8 assists, 20 points. He's a big boy at 6'3", 233 pounds. I know when you text us, you were pretty pumped about this signing.
I mean, that's not a rookie coming out of college. That's a full-grown man coming out of college. That's like Hunter coming out of college for the Griffins a couple of years ago. Like, that is a full-grown man coming out of college. It seems like he's got some good hands. He's got good speed for his size, from what it sounded like. And he's a big frame, right? That's something that when Hillebrand left, everybody lost their minds over, is that, they lose that big presence, and everybody in Toledo, the fans are always, we need bigger bodies. We need bigger bodies. Well, here's a bigger body. And Van Wy added some size in that trade. He's 6'2", so now you got a guy at 6'3". Like, there's a little bit more size on the team in the back half. But I feel like for Toledo, nobody's happy unless they're 6'7" and 250 and can skate like the wind and can fight. Until we have 24 of them on the roster, I don't know if anybody will ever be happy, but it's just what it is, right? And I'm excited to see him play. Hopefully he gets into the lineup this weekend.
Where do you see him going in the lineup? Do you see like top line, second, third, fourth?
I have no idea. This year's so tough. Like, so when they traded Hillman, they moved Keenan back to the middle. And I think this signing would push Keenan back off to the wing. I thought Keenan did a great job in playing center as like a fill-in for a little while. He's effective when he plays on the wing in that bottom six. He's a big penalty kill guy, so it's going to be very interesting. Obviously, somebody's going to obviously have to go out if he comes in, so it's going to be very interesting to watch what the lineup does. But as a whole, like I think with this signing, you're going to see the centers be like Dickinson. You're going to see center it was Smirnoff and Craggs, and now with Funk. I think those will be the primary 4 centers you see playing center every night. But like I said, they've got other options that can play center in a pinch. Like you've got
That's nice. At least one team does.
Keenan can go to the middle. So like there's a 5th option, and that probably won't be the only college signing. So
yeah, because I believe college is up right now that you could side some of these guys if they're not in tournaments right now. So where did he play in college? Do you know? Did you do that much research on this guy? Or
Bemidji State, and then he was a transfer from Northern. I think he was at Northern before Bemidji.
did he play like first side, second, third, fourth? Do you know?
I have no idea.
Okay,
No idea.
it's hard too sometimes with some of these colleges to be able to get a lineup out as well. So, the next part of news. Dylan Moulton back from Manitoba. So the Moose got full, dropped Dylan back from his PTO. So when a player gets that AHL experience, Travis, it comes back to Toledo. What is that? Have you seen any difference in their game when they come back? I know we just had Nick Andrews up, which we'll talk about here in a second.
I think it's just experience, right? You're getting to see the game at a faster level, right? And you talk to any of the guys that have played in the American League, even if it's just a game, like that was the first thing Nick said to me the other night. He's like, very fast. It's much quicker. It's a much different pace. Just that jump from like here to, just a little bit higher. And then the NHL, it goes to another level. But for me, I think it's just experience, right? I don't think it's going to be like any confusion with systems or anything like that. He was here for most of the year anyway. So it should be a seamless transition back into Toledo's lineup. He's a good player, very solid defensive player. And again, that's another guy that's some size, right? He's like 6'2", so a little bigger presence in the back end.
Good to have him back for sure. And then Nick Andrews got to call up. We talked about it a little bit in the Grand Rapids episode. If you haven't checked that out yet, we dropped that on Tuesday. Then sent back down. What kind of move? And you were able to talk with him after the game on Saturday. On Sunday. You were able to talk to him on Sunday. You said just speed? What kind of what else did you kind of see? What did he tell you from his return?
Not a whole lot. I mean, it wasn't like, it was just, I more or less just seen him walking by. I was like, how was it yesterday? He's like, oh, it was really cool. Cool thing to be a part of. And I was like, the biggest thing for me is I'm glad that they finally, got him a look. Truss has been up and down a couple times, and I feel like some people forget that Andrews is a Griffins contract. So it's one of them things where it's like, oh, it's a short trip. They probably only needed him for one night. Let's just give him his opportunity and go from there. Right. And I think, he's a good, like both of them guys, probably American League defensemen, Truscott and Andrews. If GR wasn't so deep, like they would both be in Grand Rapids, like that on the blue line at least. Obviously up front they're thin right now, but on the back end they've not needed.
If they can play forward, we'll put them there too. Yeah. We've done that with AKL.
Yeah, but I mean for the simple fact that like you look at. They're much deeper on the back end, which allows them to come to Toledo and just refine their game, work on their craft, which isn't a bad thing when it's your first full season as a pro. I think it's helped both of them. They both had great stretches of play. But yeah, the biggest takeaway from, that like 10-second conversation was just how fast it was.
Yeah, I was glad. I reiterate what you're saying. Like I like that they gave Andrews a chance because we've had Truss up quite a bit. We know what he is. We know what we're getting with that guy. Give Andrews a chance, right? See what he's got, right? He's got, I think it's a 2-year contract with the Griffins. So you would assume, like, beginning of the season, you would assume that he would have been up here, been the first call up. And instead, you've got Truss as the first call up and then Andrews the second, just because we are so deep. But I would think next year we probably don't have Gus back. We probably don't, and we just got rid of Justin Hull with the Justin Falk trade. So I'm assuming he'll probably be the first one, or he'll be the odd man out playing up here. So I'm glad he got a chance. He didn't stand out, which was great, right? Like that's exactly what you want out of a defenseman coming up. Is he plays his part. played it well, I thought. You were able to watch the game at all with Andrews in for GR?
Yeah, I watched parts of it. Like, again, and he got thrown into a little bigger role for a while there because Bouillon got hurt in that game for a little while. So, he got more minutes as they went on because I think they were 7 defensemen that night too
Yeah.
for Grand Rapids. So it was just one of those situations where it's like, here you go, kid. You're gonna be asked to play a little bit more than maybe we initially thought, but got to do it.
Luckily, Bouillon did come back, and he was all right through that. So
that looked bad too. Like, I'm not gonna lie, when I first seen the hit, I was like, oh, here we go.
In my mind, it sucked because I was like, Bouillon just got back like 2, maybe 3 months ago, and he's finally like back up to game pace. He's playing really well. I'd love to see what he's been doing. We're still like heavy on the defense side. So I'm like, if we do lose him, like we at least have bodies to play, but it's not ideal, right? You want your top guy, one of your top prospects in the lineup playing every night. But yeah, I'm glad Andrews got the chance. Hopefully we see him up here again near the end of the season. There's some of those games that we've already locked up. We're giving some guys a rest and need a break. Hopefully it's not because of injuries or anything like that. All right, Trav, that's all for the news, right? Anything else? Anything else we forgot? Did you add in?
I don't think so. It's been a long week already for me. So if we forgot anything, feel free to let us know in the comments because I was putting the note together and I forgot all about Moulton. So
that's what they're there for.
Yep, one of those weeks.
Well, let's get to the game because Toledo actually had a really strong weekend. The first game, the Cyclones, since he comes to Toledo to play, Toledo wins this game 3-2. Quick rundown on it. Cyclones scored 46 seconds into the game, mostly tied in the first. Tanner Kelly, power play goal made it 2-1. Sam Cragg scores on a breakaway right out of the penalty box. And Carter Geilinger got the start for this game, stopped 33 of 35 shots. Travis, what did you see out of this game?
It is another tight game with Cincinnati. Like, it's just what it is when you play them for the most part. Outside of early in the year, there was a couple of really crazy ones. Like, Toledo was down, I think, 4 in the third, come back and tied it. And then there was one big, I think, blowout against them. But as a whole, as of late, they've been really tight games. And Cincinnati's fighting for their playoff lives. So, like, every point for them is meaningful. And not that they're not for Toledo, but like Toledo's got a pretty good cushion. Like their playoff, they're not a lock. Nobody's a lock. Anything could happen, barring something crazy.
It is March.
But I mean, as a whole, you just look at the game, like you said, you fall behind right away, 46 seconds in, and you're like, oh boy. Like last week was so good. Let's hope this isn't a reverse trend of last weekend. And on this play, like it was from the boards up near the blue line. There were bodies in front. I don't think Carter even seen it. Like it was just from outside distance, and there was traffic. I truthfully don't think he saw it. It's one of those your position's right, and you hope it hits you. Like if you could, like, because sometimes you want to try to peek. Well, if you peek the wrong way, then it's going to miss you entirely. So you just try to make yourself as big as you can and hope it hits you if you can't see it. Mosley, though, like you said, he had a big weekend. We're going to talk about him a lot. Tanner Kelly, like beautiful redirection in front, and then just a little snarl with the defenseman right after he scored, kind of in his face a little bit. So that was a good little laugh we had. But the big one was Craggs' goal. Shorthanded, and it was towards the end of a power play for Cincinnati, which has happened a lot lately with Toledo. And I don't know how this has happened, but we've gotten quite a few breakaway chances lately off this to where it's like the end of a power play, especially in that second period. Like when you have in Toledo, not every ECHL building's the same, but when you have the long change, like coming out of the penalty box, we seem to get breakaways off that quite a bit lately. And like the goalie's banging his stick, the puck goes to Hawk, and Hawk just up ice it goes. And here comes Craggs out of the box. Phenomenal shot. But I mean, it was bar down. And I was just like relieved, right? He had a great weekend offensively. That team as a whole did, but just heads up play by Hawk, great shot by Craggs. Like, and you could tell Craggs has needed one like that. Like, hopefully that's a confidence booster for him.
Do you think that was the turning point of the game?
Oh yeah, like 100%. That made it 3-1. That's a dagger. It's not like it's a dagger. It felt like a dagger, but like it's a very deflating goal to give up, right? You're containing the puck in the offensive zone. There's a turnover at the end of the power play. You lose communicate. Like that's not you hear about game management. That's not managing the game very well. Like, and that's something that will be talked about quite a bit with Cincinnati.
With Carter, talk me through his, what did you like about Carter in this game?
His positional play, he's been really good lately. You look at last weekend, he was unbelievable, and it just kind of rolled, right? Like I said, outside of the first one, you didn't really see it, and then they give up the goal late, but they shut the door after they got that second one. As a whole, I think Carter's really grown a lot this year. I think it's safe to say he's an American League goaltender. Like,
For sure.
should be playing in the American League somewhere. Said that all year. It's just something that we're blessed with, right? He's the guy, right? Like in the most important game, he's probably getting the start. Like he's got the most experience, like in the coast. Matt's got some, but like Carter was in a finals run last year. So I think he's kind of the main guy in the crease right now. And they rely on him a lot when he plays. So he's a very, very big piece of this team.
And what we should do a Patreon episode where we compare the goalies of the past of Toledo. So with Cossa, Letherman, and Carter Geilinger, Jan Bednar, put them all up. Who's going to rank them? The best of the best and their best times in the Toledo Walleye history. Maybe we'll save that for the summer, but good that he's been fantastic. Even when he got called up to Grand Rapids, even on some short stints, he's played so well. The one thing I noticed, which we'll get into the Wichita game, but a lot of the shots were coming from the outside. Is that just something that defensively that Pat, and that's what Dan wants, is all the shots from the outside, not giving up high danger shots? Is that kind of what happened in this game? Is that was why these goalies are playing so well, is because they're able to see the puck for most point? Or
it's a lot of it, right? Outside of like I said, the first goal where I don't think you've seen the puck at all, but for the most part, they're keeping guys out of the middle of the ice. That's a big thing. Like you look back to the Trois series, guys were wide open. Guys were coming down the slot. Like shooters are going to score. Like it's professional. Yeah, like they're going to score goals. Like, yeah, you need the saves, but at the same time, like shooters are too good to be left wide open like this. So the attention to detail, to playing more structurally, boxing guys out, letting the goalies see the puck for the most part, just great. But like the one play we got to talk about that Carter made in this game, like unreal save. Like the puck, it was amazing too, because the guy's coming down and the puck goes up in the air. And it was funny because I seen Carter after the game and I was like, dude, unbelievable save. And he was taking me through it. And then it was me and Carter and another person were standing there and we're all watching it watching it. And Carter's like taking us through the whole play. So like when the puck went up and over, he's like, I heard the guys go up and then the puck landed on my back. So I went like this, like reaching around with my glove. And then when I spun, I dropped it. Because like when he spun around and he's facing into the net, the puck fell out of his glove because he actually caught it. So like when it bounced off of his back, he catches it as he's spinning. It fell out of his glove, and then McKinnon was right there and got it to the point, but it didn't get out. And then Carter by that point had turned around and then just like made a real like easy glove save and then just shut the whole play down. But yeah,
Easy.
it was just like, he's like, yeah, unbelievable. He's like, the only thing, he goes, I didn't know where it was at. I knew it went up and over. And then I heard the guys go up. So I threw my hand behind my back and then I felt it hit my back and then it fell into my glove and I turn and it just falls out. So then it was like chaos and and I'm facing the wrong way. And it's like, but those are the ones that always look amazing, but like for him, he's probably having a minor heart attack in there. Like, so
it reminds me when Cossa lost his skate blade, and he's just trying to like get around and try to find the puck and get reset. So
it was a really cool sequence, and it was just that was one of the things that you don't take for granted in Toledo that you probably don't maybe get in with you guys in GR. Like this was outside the locker room, and I'm standing there, and he's telling me about it, and yeah, it was just it was a cool little behind the scenes thing that, we talked about it.
Well, before we get into the Wichita game, we got to take a quick ad break. And when we return, we'll talk Wichita game. We'll talk about where the Toledo Walleye are in the standings. We'll talk 3 stars. None of that will be in that order. And we'll talk about the upcoming schedule and then a new segment called the Fish Tank. We'll see you on the other side of the ad. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, is built for the fastest game on ice. With player props, live betting, every shift, every shot, every save gives you options to get in on the game with DraftKings Sportsbook. Currently, the NHL is on an Olympic break, but right now you can bet a plus 10,000 for Moritz Seider to win the Norris Trophy, or plus 3,500 for John Gibson to win the Vezina. Pretty good odds there for our guys. New customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. New York, call 8778-HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. 21 plus in most states. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer. Copyright 2026 reserved. All right. Game 2. Wichita Thunder. Team we don't typically play a whole lot. At the Walleye, Toledo wins this game 5-1. It should have been a lot higher, to be honest with you. This game was a complete domination from Toledo. Probably the most complete game. Best that the forward unit, I would say, has played together. Key stat in this game, 58 shots on goal, a franchise record. They had the franchise record for the first, second. I'm not sure if they hit it for the third. Quick scoring rundown on this. Mosley scores first. He scores again on a delayed penalty. Dickinson made it 3-0. Then Brandon Kruse scores. Kelly scores again. Travis, break this game down. What was going on with this?
Like you said, it's just they dominated from start to finish. The puck was in Wichita's end the entire game. Like literally the entire game. I mean, Wichita scored the one goal, and that was a beautiful play. I mean, like I even said to my buddy Ryan, I'm like, that was just a unreal pass, great move around the defender, and a great shot. You take away that though, like I think they only had like 14 or 19 shots, something like that. They were in the, I think it was maybe 20. I don't know. It was, but you look at a whole Toledo, just they didn't give them anything. Even when they were in the offensive zone, it felt like there was just, they didn't have any chance at all, ever. And Mosley scores first, like you said, and then he gets the second on a delayed penalty. And then the great passing play with Hawk. I believe it was Van Wy and Dickinson on the third goal. Brandon Kruse, though, what a night from him. 4-point night, first star of the game, a goal and 3 assists. And honestly, I thought Mosley got a hat trick on Kruse's goal because the puck got thrown out front by Kruse and it hit a guy and went in. And Mosley like went like this right as like the puck went into the net. So I was like, oh my God, he got it. And Kels was like waiting for him to get it. She wanted him to get a hat trick so bad. So he played great.
And Kruse hit a milestone in this game too, didn't he?
100th, I believe it was his 100th point as a Walleye player. So yeah, and this kind of felt like his I'm back weekend, especially this game. Like he played, like he even said in post game, he's like, I didn't get any points Friday, but I thought I played really well. And some nights it goes like that. And then you get rewarded your next game with 4 points. But that third line, I think if you look, like watch the warm-ups, I think that's their like third line in the Rush's rotation. Like they were going third. So it's like you got Kruse with Mosley and Craggs in the middle. And that line just the entire game was, the cycle game was amazing. Puck movement was great. They were hounding pucks. Like this is the kind of game that like you're so used to seeing out of Toledo on a night to night basis. Just hard on the forecheck, hard on pucks, making life difficult for the other team. And Wichita coming in, a lot of travel. So like definitely a schedule advantage for Toledo being at home on a day off. And then Wichita's coming in with travel. So, but as a whole, you still got to win the game, and they did a hell of a job of doing it.
Yeah, I want to touch on that third line. Why were they so successful? Is it just because they were much faster than Wichita, or were they just much stronger? Like, What they seems like that chemistry came together pretty quickly.
Well, Kruse and Craggs, I mean, they've got the chemistry back to last year, and they had Louis on that line at one point for most of the year. And at one point last year, that was one of the best lines in the ECHL, that line was. And now this year they got Louis with Smirnoff and Kelly right now. So, you know, you got to find that third piece, and they found it with Mosley. Mosley, I think this again was his like breakout weekend. Like he had a huge weekend. So it just kind of goes to show, like, once you get a little chemistry with some guys, if you're getting enough scoring and you don't have to flip flop lines all the time, guys can play with each other and get some chemistry, great things can happen. And that's three good players all playing together.
Me, like, watching this game, it was like this goalie stood on his head this entire game. Like the score should have been a lot higher than what it was. This goalie was not a poor goalie at all. He played in the AHL last season for a little bit, and it's been with Wichita for the majority of this season. Like Toledo, just like you said, they were in the offensive zone almost the entire game. I wish there was a stat to see like their ozone time, because it seemed like it was like 48 minutes, maybe more.
It was a lot. The puck was in Wichita's end a lot. And like you said, that goalie, I mean, I felt for him. I was like, dude, this guy's going to need some oxygen after this game. Like, this poor guy's probably played multiple games this week. Now he's going through this on a Sunday night, and they got a bus back to Wichita from here. Like, ugh. But, you know, I was sitting there in the second period, and I looked up at the scoreboard, and there was like 9 minutes and 40 seconds left, so just under halfway point of the game. And we had 32 shots on goal. I looked at my wife, and I'm like, Kels, they've got 32 shots right now. She's like, that's like what you can normally have in a game. And I'm like, most teams, yes. I was like, they're on pace for like 64 shots right now. And I sent a text, and I jinxed it. I sent a text. I'm like, dude, I sent a text to Brady. I'm like, yo, they're on pace for 64 shots right now. And he's like, don't jinx it. Well, ultimately, I did jinx it. And I'm going to say this, there were two opportunities. They could have shot the puck in the third period with under 3 minutes left, and they did shoot it. They opted to pass. And I'm just like, okay, it's not happening. Which I found out the Toledo Storm record was 66 shots in a game.
Jeez.
So, like, just... that's one of those nights that you kind of, you know, you're always going to remember as a fan, like the night, oh yeah, I remember the night Toledo had 58 shots. And it's funny because, like, I texted our buddy Evan, and I was like, look at this score graphic and tell me what you see. And he texted me back, he's like, I don't even remember seeing 58 shots ever. And I'm like, outside of like maybe one of them 5-6 overtime games, yeah, like this is in 60 minutes. Like, they almost had a shot a minute. Like,
It's true. With like the crazy thing too, because I was watching this game today as well, and it seemed though is that it was still close. Like the score was still pretty close. It was like 3-1 at one point, and they were still, I think, we're being outshot like 34-9, and it was still that close. And like a goal would have maybe deflated or changed the outcome of this game or the momentum a little bit. It would have shifted the ice back towards them. But, you know, hats off to Toledo to keep the pedal on the metal and to continue to gas on this.
yeah, and like you said, when they made it 3-1, I was like, ooh, this is a little too close for comfort. You're looking at the you're looking at the shots on goal, and you're like, man, you feel like this should be 6-1 right now, and it's only 3-1, and you're like, man, I hope we get the next goal, and then we did. So, good night, good weekend though. Like, two great games, and just they found their game again, right? Like, it got a little worrisome for some there for a little bit. Everybody goes through a stretch, and you know, they were going through it with the Trois weekend, I think, and leading into that weekend, but they've really recovered and they've found their footing, and now let's keep going. Now this next trip that we'll talk about, it's a very big trip, but all in all, going into it, they've put themselves in a great spot.
I was gonna say this type of game kind of reminded me. You're gonna hate me about this. You're gonna hate this, but it reminded me of the Trois series last year. Is that we continued to just pepper the goalie with shots and not be able to get one in.
You couldn't score, yeah.
And luckily, like, these ones found the back of the net.
Oh yeah, pulled away.
Yeah, it was a good rebound as well. It seems like a lot of things have changed. Not changed, but the Walleye have been on this winning streak since the trade. Would you say that's correct?
Well, since the trade happened, they've played, 6 games and they've won 5. Now, this is the very interesting caveat with it, is Garrett Van Wy is 5-0 in games he's played. He's yet to lose in a Walleye uniform.
We're not going to lose a game again, boys. Just start it. Just say it, Van Wy. We did it in GR for a while. It worked. Shine's the only one who could say it here in GR. Yeah, that's a crazy stat. Now that we've been keeping track of players and wins, one guy is in the lineup against when they're not. I want to talk about Mosley because he had 2 goals. This was his first multi-goal pro game. What stood out to you about his performance in this game?
He got to the high danger areas and made the most of his opportunities. Like the one on the delayed penalty, especially, like he drew the penalty going to the net hard, and then he ends up scoring on the delayed penalty. So it's just good work ethic. Seems like he's going to be the trigger man. Like he could potentially become that trigger man on that line. Like Craggs has scored 28 goals in this league before too. So it's not to say, and Kruse can shoot the puck too, but Kruse is just such a great playmaker. Sometimes you wish he'd shoot a little more, but he's so good at facilitating. If they can get Mosley going with shooting the puck, or even Craggs shooting the puck, like that line should hum. And it's funny because where Mosley scored is a play that they do on the second power play unit with Craggs, like into the bumper, and it's a one-timer to the far side of the net. Like it seems like that's a drawn up play, and it worked on the delayed penalties. So
hopefully it continues to work throughout with this power play. Another guy I want to touch on is Kruse. So he had a monster game in this as well. 4-point night, 100th Walleye point. How important is it for him to continue to stay hot in this offense?
Yeah, it's your depth scoring, right? With, like I said, that's the third group that was going through in the pregame rushes. So if you're getting this kind of offensive night from your third line, if you can consistently find that, they're in great shape. So, and that's a guy that looks healthy. Like it makes you really think back to last year, and it's like, man, he was not healthy at the end of the year last year. You could tell, like looking at him play now versus at the end of the year last year, it's like, okay, he's much healthier at this point than he was last year. So, and again, that's a guy that, you missed the first half of the year, a little more than that. It's kind of like a trade deadline acquisition that you didn't have to give anything up to get. You just sign him. So one way to look at it.
It's like MBN up for the Red Wings, right?
Right.
Last guy I want to touch on, he didn't have a whole lot of work this game, only 19 saves, Mr. Nolan, but he had a penalty shot save too in this game. What have you seen from him so far? It's surprising that he hasn't gone back up to Cleveland, in my opinion.
I think it's just a playing time thing. They want him to play, so he's getting the opportunity down here. Obviously, it's a 3-man rotation down here, but listen, he had the 2 rough starts back to back, but since then he's responded with 2 great starts. He had the shutout, and then in this game he only gives up 1. So great resilience. He's still a very young player.
Yeah.
You forget how young he is. There's a lot of youth on this team. He's one of them. Great personality, and just he's refining his game. He's getting better. He's a first-year pro. So yeah, there's been a couple bumps, but there's also been a few really shining moments for him, and the last 2 games have been nothing but those.
Good. Let's hit our 3 stars of the week. You want to start with 3rd star, Trav? Who'd you have?
So I went with Rylan Mosley, who had 3 goals in 2 games. Obviously, he's been a great piece from Cleveland, and Cleveland's kind of become that, like, I guess you could call it a second affiliate. They're so close. Like, it's kind of like having 2 to a point. It's been a great addition so far. You look at the last weekend, like this week, 3 goals. If he can find that offense consistently down the stretch, that's a very key piece. So I thought this was a big weekend for him.
Yeah, it is interesting, the Cleveland connection, right? It's who is there? Is there affiliate Kalamazoo? No.
They don't have an ECHL affiliate. That's why them guys are here.
That makes sense. I forgot. Sorry. Cut that. And for the 2nd star, who did you have, Trav?
Sam Craggs. 1 goal, 3 assists, 4 points. Great weekend from Sam. That if you haven't figured out who the 1st star is yet, you could probably realize that the third line's heavily involved in this weekend's 3 stars.
Seems like Craig's been on a little bit of a heater.
Yeah, he's found it a little bit offensively, which they really need. That's that extra bit of scoring that this team could really, really, really benefit from having.
How long has this third line been together?
Just a couple weeks. Yeah, it's pretty new. Like You get Van Wyen changes things, and then obviously now it's going to be interesting with adding Funk in. What is that going to funk
And
up the
Brown.
lineups or anything?
Yeah, funk up the lineups. and your first star for this week, who is that?
Yeah, it's got to be Kruse, right? The two games played, 1 goal, 3 assists, 4 points, and all of them on Sunday, a 4-point game. Like, just a great weekend from him and that whole line as a whole. That line kind of carried them this weekend offensively.
Yeah, it's good to get the third line going. I mean, we know how important it is up here in Grand Rapids, especially during playoff time. You're going to need those dirty goals. You're going to need scoring from other areas. You can't always just rely on the first line, as you see in Detroit, right? You've got to get all the lines in contribution for goals. Do you have the standings update, Travis? Where are they sitting? Run us through it.
So we're going to start in the East this time, something a little different. So we'll start in the East up north with the Wheeling Nailers still in first place. They got 74 points. The Maine Mariners in second place with 71 points. The Adirondack Thunder, they're in third with 70 points. Reading is in fourth with 65 points. And then you start to see some separation, right? That's your playoff line, the top 4 teams. You got the Worcester in 5th with 57 points, Waugh in 6th with 56 points, Norfolk is in 7th with 47 points, then Greensboro is in 8th with 38 points. You look at that, you got an 8-point lead. Worcester only 1 game in hand. I think you're starting to see the separation there with the top 4 in this division, with Reading, Adirondack, Maine, and Wheeling. We'll see if that sticks. We'll head south in the East. The Florida Everblades, they lead that division with 82 points. Following them is the South Carolina Stingrays. They got 75 points, followed by the Atlanta Gladiators with 75 points. So they're tied technically with South Carolina with a game in hand. And then Savannah's in 4th with 60 points. And then under the playoff line is Greenville with 50 points. Orlando is in 6th with 49 points. And Jacksonville is in 7th with 48 points. Another, 10-point lead. You only got about 4 weeks to go. So that you're starting to see 10 points over 4 weeks. Granted, there's a lot of division and head-to-head play, but Greenville, if they're going to close the gap on Savannah, is going to need a lot of help. Plus, they got to help themselves. So that's the East. You head west. We'll start in the Mountain. We'll save the best division for last. Kansas City, the first team to clinch a playoff spot. They clinched already 91 points. They're 44-9-2-1 in 56 games. 13 points percentage on an absolute tear. They are at 91 points. Idaho is in second with 74 points. That's how clear they are of second place.
It's like GR in Chicago right now.
Yeah. Allen's in third with 67 points. Tahoe, the Night Monsters, they're in fourth with 61 points. Wichita's in fifth with 55 points. So a little separation there. Utah is in sixth with 50 points. Rapid City is in 7th with 49 points. And then Tulsa with 41 points is in 8th place. Yeah, man, Kansas City, they're legit. That's a really good hockey team. And whoever goes through that team in the playoffs has got their hands full. Doesn't matter if it's anybody of Tahoe, Allen, Idaho in that division, because those are probably going to be the 4 teams out there. Any of them 3 go against them, they're going to have their hands full. And then you look at, and then whoever comes out of the Central, right? If it's hopefully us, you're going to have your hands full in that conference final, especially after you beat them last year. Obviously, they beat us the year before. So that's been your conference final the last couple of years. But it'll be interesting to see, and maybe somebody pulls off the crazy upset, right? You've seen it in hockey so many times where the league champs get knocked out somewhere. So we'll see. But we're going to head over to the Central. Toledo is back in first place by 2 points. They're even with Fort Wayne now in games played, so they have the 2-point advantage. 74 points to 72 points, Fort Wayne being in second. Then you go to third, it's the Indy Fuel at 61 points. And then here we go, buddy. 4, 5, and 6 battling for that last playoff spot. Bloomington's in fourth with 58 points, 55 games played. Kalamazoo is at 56 points, so they're 2 back with the same amount of games played. And then Cincinnati, 55 games played, 55 points, so they're 3 back. Last year it came down to the final weekend. It's looking like it could very well be the same story again this year. And then Iowa rounds out the Central Sad news in Iowa too. I know we didn't talk about that in the beginning, but obviously their team's going on a voluntary suspension after this year. Didn't shut the door permanently, but most instances that pretty much shuts the door on your franchise.
I was going to ask, how does that impact? What does that do? I feel bad we didn't put this in the news section at the beginning of the episode, but what do you foresee happening with that now?
I don't see a world where they stay. Averaging 1,500 fans, I just don't see it. They would need a lot more people coming to the games. And it's unfortunate for like the city and, where they play at there in Coralville, Iowa. And it's sad because so many of the guys have talked about how much fun that Iowa trip is. Like Louis talked about it. He loved going to Iowa on that trip. It's a longer trips, and you stayed right next to the arena, he said. So it sucks that, the players are losing a trip that they like. I know it sounds weird to talk about Iowa and hockey being such a fun place to go to, but for the guys in Toledo, they enjoyed it. So at least Louis did. So a very interesting piece, and hopefully, ideally they figure it out, right? They get new ownership in, they can get some fans in there and figure it out. I always loved their logo. My wife calls them the deer people. She always made me laugh when we go and they play Iowa. So yeah, hopefully they can figure it out. You never want to see teams leave, but when you're only drawing 1,500 fans, the writing's kind of on the wall.
What needs to be fixed to that for them to draw more people?
A lot of it's a better team, but they made the playoffs last year and they still didn't draw. So I just don't think it's a hockey market. I just don't see it. And that's one thing that I've said a lot. I know in group texts with you guys, it's like there's so many markets out there that are untapped for hockey that I think would be better options than Iowa City. You look at some of these other markets that are out there, could New Orleans work? Something like that. I don't know if it'd be an American league. I don't think the NHL ever expands there, but could that market work? Obviously the NHL doesn't work in Atlanta, but the coast does. And the NHL's trying to go back to Atlanta. So what would that do to the Gladiators? Does that hurt their fan base? There's other markets out there, like New Mexico and Rio Rancho. That's going to be interesting. I don't know how that's going to work out. Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work out, and then Savannah in I think 2 years. So, or not Savannah, Augusta. So I don't know. It's tough being in the minors, right? In minor league cities, you gotta have that passionate fan base, which being in Toledo, we're fortunate. We cover the team. You guys have seen it firsthand. But a lot of teams don't experience that. Look at Jacksonville, for Christ's sakes. They're averaging 14,000 people, which is where we just sent, Ambrosio for Brown and Van Wy and all them other guys, Hillman, Bucco, and Pietolo. They're going and playing in front of 14,000 people, and they're in last place. So clearly that market likes hockey.
Yeah.
So
it's way to cool down, I guess, from the Florida heat.
Yeah, cold inside the rink, but I don't know. It's just one of those things. It just didn't seem like it was ever going to work in Iowa, but you hope they can figure it out.
Do you think there'll be a realignment with the divisions being a little off?
I would anticipate Wheeling comes back to the Central next year, because they're not going to leave. That North Division's going to get Trenton anyways. Trenton's going from Utah to Trenton, and then they would have 9 in that division. So Wheeling was destined to come back to the Central anyways. Now it's going to be long term. If Iowa doesn't come back, is there another Central Division team? Where's that coming from? I don't know. So
it's interesting. I know they're always adding teams, so it's and now they're losing a team, and
they want to get to 32 so bad. That's the thing. They want to get to 32 franchises so every NHL team can have a affiliate. That's their goal. I don't know how or where they're going to find a replacement for Iowa, because Iowa probably would have ended up in the Mountain Division or stayed in the Central. Yeah, it's hard to say, man. Who knows?
Time will tell. Well, what's the upcoming schedule? Where are we off to? I know Louis kind of ruined it in his interview, but
well, if you're listening to this, we have played a game Thursday, because this will be out Friday. They're in Savannah Thursday night, and then they're in South Carolina Friday. and Saturday, and then back in Savannah on Monday. So good little southern trip for the guys. It sounded like they left early this week. So they got down there and got to have, probably some time down there. I told all the guys to go check out the candy store on River Street. So I'm hoping that they, got down to River Street. River Street's a really cool experience down in Savannah. And then I told them too, I'm like, dude, it's the most haunted city in the world. Like, if you guys don't go out one night and do a ghost tour, like, you guys are crazy.
What do you think is the key for Toledo on this road trip?
Just do what they've been doing. Play their game, play fast, be hard on pucks. This is a tough little road trip here. You're playing 2 playoff teams out of the South. Like, Savannah's in 4th, South Carolina's in 2nd. And you think back to a couple years ago, and there was a trip down south. They played in South Carolina. They were winning the game. They gave up a goal late to tie it, and then they gave up a goal with 5 seconds left to lose it. And it seemed like that game kind of that was this is unacceptable. That's not good enough. And that propelled them into a playoff run. Like, that was like the punch in the face that group kind of needed at that point in time, if I remember correctly. That was a big point in their season a couple years ago, because they were playing well, and then they had that game, and it was like, that was not good. Like, we can't be doing that kind of stuff. Like, 2 goals late like that, 1 real late. Like, that was a big point. That was like a turning point in their season. Like, okay, this is gonna no more. This is it for that. So
kind of reminds me of another team I watched last night. Maybe we see a bounce back there as well.
The Detroit Griffins, I doubt it.
All right, before we wrap up, Travis, I'm going to throw a new segment at you. I know I'm not on these shows a whole lot, but let's have some fun while Dad's gone. He's in, we didn't even acknowledge Brandon not being here. Brandon is in Ohio.
It's in Youngstown.
He's out chasing Bigfoot, is what he told me. So there's been a lot of spottings down in Ohio. He is chasing Bigfoot. It's been a lifelong dream of his. He is trying to see where Bigfoot is and where he's headed. So he believes there's a herd of them. So while Dad's chasing Bigfoot, I want to throw this one at you. It's the fish take segment. And just one thing from the weekend. So I'm going to go first to give you some time to think. But my one thing, if Toledo's offense pressure against Wichita, all right, if they could keep that up, that's what this team is going to look like when it's really rolling. Like, we need to continue to keep this momentum, that pressure, that team, because if they play like that every night, like, they're going to win the whole thing, right? They're going to go far. They should go far, if not win the whole thing. Travis, what's your one thing?
So my thing is continuing 5-on-5 scoring. They have found that the last few weeks, and they did a lot of that this weekend. They did a lot of damage at even strengths. That's one thing for me. If they can continue to find the back of the net at 5-on-5, they'll have a lot of success.
Kind of feel like that's a cop-out. You just took what I said.
Well, you didn't specifically say 5-on-5.
I'm just playing. All right, Walleye fans, if you made it this far, what was your one thing from this weekend? Drop in the comments. Maybe hashtag fish take. Maybe put that in there. That could be kind of fun. You got anything else you want to throw into this draft? Anything else we missed? Anything we missed?
No, not that I can think of.
All right, we'll close this one up. Quick shout out to our Patreon supporters. We really appreciate you helping the show. Helps keeps the lights on at my place for sure. No, I'm kidding. Helps us upgrade, put things back into the show. So Riverside was a new addition for us this year to be able to record in 4K. If you're watching us on YouTube, been able to give us the better mics this year as well. And then also our mobile mics that we use for recording post-game. So all of that is thanks to our Patreon supporters. I'm going to go through our Patreon supporters right now. And Travis, I don't know if you know, but we got a new one. I'm going to start with our longest tenured, is how I've been doing this. Michael Asante, Alan and Lori Fausch. I think those are your parents, Trav.
Yeah.
Derek Sleazer, Griffin Not from GR, Elaine Grace, John in Florida, Tyler Ingalls, Darren Swartz, Zach, Peter Grell, Joe Schroeder, Bert Rito, Jason C., who is our newest addition, D-Boss is D-Boss, Bex, and Alan from GR. Thank you for all the love and support over there. If you want to be able to become a Patreon supporter, you get unedited episodes, you get some behind-the-scenes looks, you get entered into all of our giveaways that we do, and we're sitting on a few that we're going to be giving away soon. So we just gave away our Amadeus Lombardi, his coffee mug, mason jar, to a Patreon supporter. They will be getting it on Friday at the game. So go there, Patreon, Hockeytown W Pod, find us there. Find us on all the socials. Also, big thanks to our sponsors, DraftKings. Use code THPN. And Everything Hockey. Hoodie season is still full effect. Use code WEST and you'll get a discount on some of the items over there. And if you enjoyed the show, make sure you subscribe, like the episode, share it with another Walleye fan, comment on Travis's gnarly beard that he's got, or my gnarly beard that I've got. I don't know. Make it fun. 5 straight wins for the Fish. Let's see if they can keep it rolling on the road. Go Griffins. Go Walleye. Love you. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Hockeytown West podcast. Be sure to check us out on Twitter at HockeytownWPod and your hosts, Nick at GR Hockey Guy, Brandon at Brandon GR Hockey, and Travis at Trav in T-Town.